I'm not going to say that first name. At least somebody's I need to go back to chemistry school, or back to school and go to do a chemistry class on some of these products. But anyway, this is another, it's not an overlay, it's more of a sealant type product. This is our cheapest option we have. Okay, this is something we just started doing. We've done a little bit of it on some girders. If they have some small cracking or some concerns, we'll do it. But we just started putting this on bridge deck. So put this slide on here. Obviously, it's not Thompson's water seal we're putting down, but it's pretty much the same concept. You put that down on your deck. You see the water beating up on it. We're going to do the same thing on our bridge deck. See the family truckster here. I think this is back when Cameron was. I think I might be Cameron there. But really, it's a sprayed-on application, and there's some science to it. But it penetrates down into the concrete, and then it waterproofs it. It doesn't fill our cracks, but it helps resist and kind of turn away that water. So here's just a diagram. You can kind of see here. So we're going to spray it. It's going to penetrate. It probably doesn't penetrate this deep in the cracks, probably an over-exaggeration, but it's going to kind of go down a little bit, and it kind of seeps down into the concrete, doesn't fill the crack, but it says it creates a hydrophobic layer. Basically, kind of resists that water wanting to get down in that crack or penetrate down in the concrete. So if you have waters raining, you'll see it, where if you put it right beside where you haven't treated it, it's saturated, soaking into the concrete. Where you put this, it kind of beads up and doesn't go down in the concrete. So it kind of keeps that, what we're trying to keep those chloride ions from getting down to our rebar. This kind of resists this. Okay, so it's you know, like I said, it's not an overlay, but it's keeping the water out as best it can. So again, resistance to chloride ion, that liquid bridge remover, we're wanting to try to keep that out of there. It does have some amount of penetration into the concrete. It doesn't change our surface appearance. After you do it and you go back and look at it, you can't tell that we've done anything there, except for maybe when it rains, you see the water beating up a little bit. We don't change the grade. It's quick drying time, so you can get it back over the traffic real quickly. You can strike back over it. The best thing is economical and easy to use. So if we get this in our maintenance cycle, we can treat this with Silane and keep the bridge in good condition if we do it every 7 to 10 years. Pretty cheap. So there's two types of Silane, 40% and 100%. You can see both, you'll see both on the approved products list. But for contract use, if you have a project where you're doing Silane on a bridge deck, you've got to use 100% Silane. Bridge maintenance, I think, may use some of the 40%, or we might have used some in the past, but we are only using 100%. It's just a better product. It's going to last longer, especially for bridge decks, because vehicles going over stuff, it wears pretty quickly, right? So we want to make sure it's going to last. It's just more flammable than the other one, so you have to use caution around it. I wouldn't recommend smoking and stuff around it. Pretty much any of these overlays. Some of them may be more flammable than others. It's not a good idea to be smoking around this type of work. Again, it penetrates down into the concrete. So here's just kind of a couple of pictures of different applications. This one, they're doing a large deck. They've got a spray bar here, cover more area, probably more uniform spray. This one, they're just walking around with a hose and spraying it. We don't want a pump sprayer where they're just putting in a garden sprayer and pumping and spraying, but we do want even coverage. You do need to kind of determine the rate. We don't have a rate in our contract. The manufacturer's rep is required to be there to start with. They'll help you in trying to determine the rate, because each deck is, it's more or less porous depending on which deck you're on. So some you might have to put more product, some you might have to put less. Sometimes you might have to put 2 coats. We're going to do a test to determine that, which will help at the beginning, and I'll show you that in a second, how much we're going to need to do. The approved products list, if you go looking for Silanes on there, it's more than likely one that you're going to use on a contract. It's not even on the APL yet. So we're working on trying to get those manufacturers to submit that and get those approved so that you can refer straight to that without having to do a submittal to structures management to see if it's acceptable or not. Limitations, must be dry. So our special revision says 48 hours. So that's, you're limited on if you're able to put it down. Now, the resident might be able to make some judgment. If it's 90 degrees all day and bright and sunny and it rained yesterday, he may still let you put it down as long as some of those moisture checks are okay. 40 to 90 degrees is pretty good range. Winds less than 20 miles per hour, so you don't want this stuff blowing into cars and everything. Make sure you're looking at the weather afterwards for 12 hours. Again, it's flammable, and then any concrete, new concrete or patches have to be cured for 21 days. One thing, some states are actually using this on new bridge decks. So they finished construction, they may or may not turn traffic on it for a few months, and then they come and spray it. So they're basically protecting it from the very beginning, just keeping those chloride ions out of the deck. We can use it as a preservation thing. That's a preservation option as well. We've considered that. We may at some point do that. Go ahead and do our new bridges. It's so cheap for the investment, protect our investment. It might save us money in the long run. This is the test I was talking about. It's a very scientific test. You take a 5 by 5 foot section, do your treatment, wait 5 to 7 days. You epoxy or put this little tube there, fill it with water, and you watch it for 20 minutes, and if the water's gone down, it fails. If the water stays there, it passes. So I'm not sure what the ASTM test number is on this, but pretty scientific. So, but again, you're going to do that. If it passes, then that rate is good for the rest of the deck. Also check for these things down here at the bottom while you do it. If it's staining it or something, you might want to see what's going on, but it shouldn't.